I don't have kids. And I think that stems like a little bit from the fact that I had a hard time with my mother and a hard time with my father growing up. And for a long time, I felt like I didn't want to pass that same hurt on or pass that same trauma on to another child. So I might have hindered myself a little bit. But at the same time, I feel like the work that I've put into myself as a person and the strength that I exude from doing that work has put me in a position to truly share myself, share my love, share my heart with my people and with anyone who comes into my space. There was a time where I can't say that I could do that. I used to be a very angry person. I used to be very off-put by people, not trusting. I have a hard time trusting, but I feel like the work that I've done and that I'm doing and that I do daily has really changed that and has allowed me to open up and to just be a more caring, loving person. And just that alone changes my life, changes that's not how I grew up. That's not the people that were around me from my family, right? Not just people from other people, but like my own family. We weren't like that. My mom has a hard time with that still to this day. So I feel like just that alone, just me doing the stuff that I'm doing, going to school, changing my life, hoping to change other people's lives, hoping to help be a part of the change. Growing up on my res, growing up with my family, I had an alcoholic father. I've kind of gone through a lot of my own trials, dealing with alcoholism, anorexia, drug abuse. I lost my father. I guess more recently, I lost my father in 2016, and things kind of took a turn for me. I started using heavy drugs. I had always dealt with that sort of world because my brothers growing up were heavy drug addicts for the majority of the time growing up. My parents were, I guess, like they were there, but they weren't there. So I took care of them. I did a lot of loving them, raising them. And then when I lost my father, I think because I didn't have a lot of time to maybe apologize and maybe talk to him about some of the things that, he's done to me throughout my life that hurt me, I really just shut down. And I just kind of dove headfirst into the world of drugs with my brothers rather than being their caregiver anymore. I just became their friend and I just started doing what they were doing. And I did that for a good solid year and a half, almost 2 years, till about 2018. And in 2018, I kind of had to take a look at my life and realize that, I'm going to be 30 years old and I've lost my house, my cars, basically everything that I had. The only thing I had left was my 2 dogs. Luckily, I still had them. And I was homeless. I was living on the street. I was going from house to house, just looking. I wasn't even looking for sleep or a place to stay anymore. I was just looking for drugs and just to get high. And I remember the one day that I messaged my friend and I told him, I don't have anywhere to sleep tonight and I'm going to have to sleep in a bank, like the doors, like that where the machine is because it's open all night long, right? And he said, like, what are you doing? And I was like, what do you mean? What am I doing? I gotta find somewhere to sleep. Like, that's what I'm doing. And he was like, why? Like, why don't you just come home? And home being here in Nipissing. I still don't have a very good connection with my mom or with my sister here in town. So at the time I was like, why? Like, there's nothing for me there and my mom doesn't want me there. My family doesn't want me there. So there's really no point. And he just said, like, who cares? Like, who cares if they want you here? Who cares if anybody wants you here? Like, I want you here and I want you to be normal again. Like, I want you to get better. And he just said, like, you can come here. I have a spare bedroom. I'll feed you. Like, I know you don't have a job. I know you don't have anything. Like, I'll feed you. I'll take care of you. The only thing that I ask is that you don't bring drugs here. And as soon as he gave me that opportunity, I had a choice to make. And if I was going to continue to stay there or if I was going to come home. And I had already overdosed at least 3 times, 3 solid times that I know about. And I know that there was more, but I just don't remember them. And I lived through it. So obviously, like, my dad or my grandma or, somebody is out there watching out for me. So when I got that opportunity, I really had to take a moment and think about it. And then I instantly went into looking for a ride because all I needed at that point was a ride home, right? So I reached out to one of my friends who I used to go to the gym with pretty regularly before I lost my dad and before I got into the drugs and everything like that. And I knew, like, he was upset with me. But when I reached out to him, I said, like, I'm really messed up and I know, like, that you're mad at me, but I need to go home. Otherwise, I'm going to die here. And the only person that I can think of is you. So it took him like a day to message me back, but he messaged me back and he was like, yep, like, I'm off on this day and just be ready and I'll pick you up and I'll drive you home. So that day came, and because I was so messed up, I didn't even really remember that, he was coming to pick me up that day. And luckily, he came to where I was, and he sat there for, I think, like 3 hours waiting for me. I was in this house, and I was sleeping because I hadn't slept in like 12 days. The person whose house I was in came up to me, and she woke me up, and she said, like, your ride's here. And I was like, my ride? Like, nobody's coming to pick me up. I don't have a ride. And she was like, Mac? And I was like, oh, geez, okay. So I went and I came home and I started getting clean. And it took me about a month to fully detox. And I remember after like 31 days, I finally felt like a normal human being again. And I was able to get up and go outside and feel alive again. And then from that moment on, I knew that I wanted to get back everything that I lost. Like, I needed to get a job again. I needed to figure out what I was going to do with myself. So I instantly started just that journey. I went to the unemployment office. I started focusing on getting my resume together. I started getting my job stuff together. Coming home, getting reconnected to my roots and everything here, culture-wise. They had different programs in Nipissing that I could join up with. I went to sweat lodges at Mike Cucci's place. So a lot of those things really created that foundation for me even before I went back to school. And then getting into school, meeting my instructor, Bev, and just meeting all of the students in my class. I met up with a woman named Mabel Dilkees, who's become a very large staple in my life, and her family. They've really provided a lot of support for me in my healing journey and even in my growing. Sorry, I touched the microphone. And so meeting all the people in my class and then doing the assignments. So, like, I don't have a lot of connection to my family here. My mom and her sisters and her brothers and stuff, they were all very much sort of separate. I didn't have a lot of connection with my aunties and my uncles and stuff like that. So going to the IWOP program and having to do like our family tree and getting into touch with like just our family history and all of that stuff was the first time that I ever actually even tried to dive into anything like that. So it was nice to be able to, I guess, somewhat feel a little bit of connection to my family after so long. Although, like, I don't really hang out with them or anything like that, but it's nice to kind of know a little bit more about them. And then, like, with that being said, being home, I have reconnected with some of my aunts and had a lot of have had some time to get to know them a little bit. So that's been nice. And then, yeah, now I'm doing school. I graduated from the IWOP program. I started doing Indigenous Foundations program at Nipissing University. So I graduated from that last year. I graduated from 2 different courses during COVID, so I'm pretty proud of that. And then I'm doing my Bachelor of Social Work right now as my major and doing a minor of Indigenous Studies, which I should be done this year, I think. And yeah. When I came home in 2019, before the first Nipissing powwow, I danced when I was younger. I met my elders who I traveled to powwow with now when I was living in Rama with my sister Sarah, who was like my chosen sister, not my actual sister. But I was living in Rama. I met up with my elder Ned, and he doesn't like when I call him that, but but anyways, so I danced, went to a lot of powwows with him. I've had the calling for the jingle dress come to me a few times through like my friends asking me to use their dress to dance for them, or my other friend offering me her dress to dance because she was like, no, like you need to be out there. You need to be doing this. So she lent me her dress. And after she lent me her dress, my friend Ned was like, that means you have to make your dress now. Like it's time. So I met with a woman named Linda Roy on my reserve, and I know her son, and he said, like, my mom knows how to do all that stuff. So, like, if we go, I'll take you there, and you can ask her if she'll help you make it. So I went and I met with her, and I asked her, like, I really want to make a jingle dress, and I just need some pointers. She had this, like, notion that I was coming there and asking her to make my dress for me, right? But basically, I made the whole entire dress myself. I did everything myself. She just kind of showed me what to do. And she was so proud of me. And while I was making it, she reminded me, she's like, I know you from when you were young. And I was like, really? She said, yeah. She's like, you remember when we had a sweat down by where the food bank is in the village now? It used to be like there was a bridge across from the church and stuff there. But there was a sweat lodge there when we were kids. And me and my brothers were there like every day. And I always like had that wanting to be connected in that way. So we were there every day, and she reminded me of that. And she was like, I remember you kids sitting through that sweat. And I thought, wow, like, look at these kids. Like they're just sitting here making it through this whole sweat. And I think I sat through the whole thing. I'm pretty sure that we sat through the whole thing. So that was like, not very much, but I guess I did. Like whenever there was an opportunity to have some form of connection, I tried to be there. It wasn't until I was going through my alcoholism and getting into trouble that I met my sister Sarah, who got me my spirit. She helped me get my spirit name and then became my sponsor for my spirit name, and she's taken me under her wing as her sister from that time on. So it was there that I really got that connection to our way of life, right? I was given my name, and it's Golden Eagle Woman, and my clan as well. So the elder who gave me my clan, like in Ojibwe culture, we follow our father's clans. My father was non-Indigenous. So when I went to the elder, I said to him, like, I know that it should be, I guess, Martin clan that I would fall under, but I just don't feel like that connection there. So I was wondering, like, is there a way that people are adopted or how that works? And when he did the ceremony, he told me like that I had been adopted by Eagle Clan and that my name was Golden Eagle Woman. And I really didn't understand it at that time, because he said, the golden eagle like flies the highest and sees the farthest. And I feel like even though I've gone through all of the hard things that I've gone through in my life, it's put me on the path of where I am and given me the ability now to go into the future and help another young Indigenous woman or a young Indigenous man overcome their own traumas and their own struggles with drugs and alcohol and all those things. So I wouldn't be the same person that I am today if I didn't have that experience. And I think that stems from my name, right? So yeah, I think everything kind of just falls into place the way that it's supposed to, right? So And yeah, it was like from there, from getting my name, getting that connection back, and then coming home. So I lost it a little bit, leaving my sister's place, going back into town, losing my dad, getting into drugs again, coming home, and then having to kind of reconnect. And funny story, like I was really upset when I had to come home. Like, even though I was happy that I was going to be getting clean, like the drugs still were telling me like, oh no, you know, we should stay. And I was pretty upset about having to come home. I felt kind of like a failure. And throughout my life, like even when I was living in Aurelia, I always had trees outside my windows, and I would always watch them from the springtime to like the fall time when the trees would start to bud and then grow and then fall. And I always watched that. And it was one day I was driving down to the village, and I would drive that every day when I was a kid on the bus to go to school. And seeing those trees, I remember I used to watch those trees every day, like, and I always had that connection to them. So it made me realize, it made me like connect those two. It's like, that's why I always watched those trees, like even in Aurelia. So once I like reconnected that, I was like, wow, like I'm really happy to be home. And it was kind of like like I say, everything happens for a reason. So like I needed to come back here to reconnect and to get better. Everything kind of seems tough when we look at it right now, or like in your situation, but everything gets better, like it really does. And it does take a lot of work. It does take a lot of healing. It takes knowing yourself, but if you're willing to put the work in, if you're willing to make that time for yourself and for your spirit, you can do anything. Like you can heal from anything. And when you put your trust in yourself and in your spirit and in Creator, and you start to use our tools, sema, tobacco, smudging, all of those things, and you put your trust in that, into the universe and into Creator, things will come back to you and your life will change. And like, it's not a joke, it's for real. And just trust in yourself, and know that no matter where you've been, what you've done, who you've, hurt, or how you've hurt yourself, you can come back from that. So I want to do my master's of social work, and then my dream is to move down west, like out west for a while, not like move out there forever, but like I want to work out there and get some experience. I know that there's a lot of Indigenous communities out that way that need a lot of help. And I want to get experience. I want to work with as many Indigenous people as I can. I want to be like my sister Sarah was to me, and be able to help people and give them something to believe in themselves.